I do not know how this happened. All of a sudden, it is April of 2023. I feel like it was just February. Like, how are we already a quarter into the year? It's insane. But regardless, I am here to talk about all the books that I read in March, and I'm not gonna lie to you, we had some high highs and some low lows. I had 2 really good books and then 2 books I was just like, they weren't that great, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna spoil too much. Let's dive into the books that I read in March. Now, as usual, we will not have any spoilers. I'm just gonna tell you about how I genuinely feel about each book that I read. So I thought, why not start with the books that I did in the 24-hour reading vlog. Now, if you have not seen that, I highly recommend it if you want to see me unhinged, because that video was absolutely insane. I started at like 1 a.m. and as you can imagine, it just went downhill from there. But regardless, if you've already seen it, this is one of the books that I read. This is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. Now, initially when I was reading it, I was like, wow, this is really cute. But then upon finishing and upon review, I was like, but was it really cute though? Was it cute enough? And the answer is it wasn't. I thought this was a solid 3 out of 5 stars. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't like absolutely mind-blowing, stellar, or anything like that. It was just okay. It was an okay romance book. Now, the main character, her name is Nora. She's a literary agent in New York City. She's like the cliche, hardworking New York City woman, right? But she has no fun and she's kind of just about work. And she's kind of like losing touch with her family because she's just all about work. Then her love interest, his name is Charlie. He's also a New York City boy, but he's not just from New York City. He's different from the New York City boys because he's actually from a small town. It's called like Sunshine Falls or something really cute like that. And he understands the small town life, but he's also like a New Yorker. So he's an editor, they're both in the book world, and they both hate each other at first. So you guys know I'm a sucker for a good enemies to lovers thing, so I was already hooked from the beginning. So Nora ends up taking a vacation with her sister Libby to Sunshine Falls. And once she's there, guess who's there too? Charlie. And so they see each other, they hate each other at first, and as you can imagine, they fall in love or whatnot. Now, I love that idea. It's very cute. It's very like to the point love story-y, right? They try to add like some type of dimension because she lost her mother in a very tragic way and it was like eating at her all her life and she couldn't sleep well. And then they delve into that a little bit to just give her some more depth, which was cool. I liked that. It just wasn't like spectacular for me. It just wasn't like crazy, you know? I gave it a solid 3 out of 5 stars. It was a decent read. That's all I can say. So we're starting off pretty solid with a 3 stars out of 5. Not bad, not great either. Now, we can go from pretty average to pretty tragically amazing real quick. And that is what we did with this second book. This is Malibu Rising by my favorite, Taylor Jenkins Reid. And if you watched my 24-hour rating vlog, you just know how much this book triggered me. It was just the therapy I've been avoiding. It was so to the point and just perfectly explained the imperfections of humans and how everyone has a side to a story, how everyone wants to be good, but sometimes you don't end up being good and you can be the bad person in someone else's story. It was just so well done. Clap it up for Taylor Jenkins Reid one time. She's just so good at storytelling. It's insane. It's insane. I realized that I never know where she's gonna go with the story. And I'm becoming her biggest fan. I absolutely love it. Hurt me again, Taylor.
Oh, say less.
I'm ready for it. From the very beginning, completely grabbed all of my attention. I was ready to see what happened. All of the characters got on my nerves, but I also fell in love with all of them. And it kept jumping from the past to the present and why certain things are the way they are in the present because of the past. Just so well done. Again, she's amazing. I am her biggest fan. Read this if you don't do anything else. Just read this. So good. Now this next one I also feel like is really good, but for a different reason. The book I'm talking about is Human Acts. This book was written by Han Kang. Now, I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. It was absolutely devastatingly incredible. It was very difficult to read, I'm not gonna lie. I almost cried like 3 or 4 times. It was just so well written, so descriptive, and just so hard to realize and conceptualize that this genuinely happened. It kind of reminded me of how I felt after reading The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. That book is so hard to read, but it's like necessary. That kind of book is necessary to read because you have to realize these were genuine people. Stories like that genuinely happen, and they have names. They deserve to be heard and understood and empathized with. You know what I'm saying? And that's what this book did for me. Now, this book was about the war that happened in South Korea in the 80s. I believe it was the early 80s. And the military basically used all their force to brutally murder a completely unarmed civilian town just because they were asking for basic human rights. And the way this book almost destroyed me, it was so tragic. Like, she didn't write this book from the perspective that you would think. Like, she didn't just write about the facts. No, she took a very creative approach with writing this, and that's why I fell in love with it. She's such a great storyteller. She wrote the story from the perspective of one of the boys who died in this war, and he was only in middle school. And so you fall in love with this character, and then you have to watch him die. So you feel a little bit of the pain that these people felt. And now it's not just a number. You can understand how all hundreds of thousands of these people had families, had brothers, had sisters who are mourning them, who lost them. It's extremely rare to find a book that can create such visceral emotions in you. Like, I was ready to cry so many times while reading this. I was so angry. I was so confused. I just didn't understand. I could not believe that this happened. And it's incredible that words on a page put together correctly can create such visceral reactions like that. And that's why I think that she's incredible. I also heard that she wrote another book that has been on my TBR list for a while. It's called The Vegetarian, and I think Jack Edwards read it. And now that's a book that I really want to read because I can tell she's an incredible storyteller. She's very descriptive. She knows how to get to you as a person. Like, she just did this injustice justice. Like, as a person just now learning about what happened, I think she did such a great job to make me understand, or to make any reader understand, the actual severity of what happened. She is incredible with language, and I think as someone outside looking in who had no idea about what happened, she did such a great job at making me understand the severity of the situation, just how badly these people were treated, just how much they were mutilated and just discarded, weren't even treated as human. She made everyone understand in such a creative way, and it was beautiful. It was so heartbreakingly beautiful, and I highly recommend you reading books like this because, yeah, it's nice to read romance books and mysteries and to feel good. Everyone loves that, but it's also important to realize that stuff like this exists too. Like, they allow you to learn something in real life and to understand and become more worldly and more empathetic by reading about real stories like this. And that's why I fell in love with it. It was so good. It made me uncomfortable. It made me so sad, but I feel like I'm more knowledgeable now. I now know about something that I had no idea actually even happened, and I feel like I'm better for it. I want to read more books by her, and I just want to continue to evolve as a person and become more knowledgeable. So I recommend. Now the next one, I'm not going to tell you it's as good as this. It's actually the worst book I read all month, and that is Normal People by Sally Rooney. I don't even know where to start with this. It was just so bad. It was so bad. And it's weird because I've heard really good things about it. I thought this was going to be a really great book, and it was the opposite. I rated this a 2 out of 5 stars, and honestly, I feel like that was me being really generous. I felt like it could have been a 1-star book. Maybe it is a 1-star book. I don't know. But the characters were so frustrating. They were horrible at communicating, and I didn't really like her writing style. There were no quotation marks. It was just all in one lumped up paragraph. I don't know, I didn't really understand it. I hated her friends. I just didn't connect with the main characters. It just wasn't good. It was literally about these 2 kids who met in high school. The guy treated her horribly initially, and then they just went back and forth, not treating each other well, not communicating well throughout their entire lives. Like, I thought it was so dumb, unfortunately. I just didn't understand the point of it. It didn't feel like there was any point, and I got really tired and bored reading it in the middle of it. Like, in the middle of it, I had to consciously force myself to continue to read because I paid for this book. I'm gonna read it. But it just wasn't good. It just wasn't good. Now, I can admit, the March reads weren't that great. They weren't all winners. But the ones that I really liked, I really genuinely liked. Like, I highly recommend reading Malibu Rising and Human X. Those 2 books were incredible to me. But now that we're done with March, I'm very excited for what we read in April. If you haven't seen it already, I did randomly pick my books that I'm going to read in April in a video. It was so fun. Honestly, one of my favorite videos to film. And I just think that we're going to have a really good reading month in April. I am going to do a book vlog in April because you guys asked for it. I guess I can do it for you. And I think that it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you had a lot of fun today, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.